this video, we are going to look into the creation of infrastructure using your Terraform. Okay, so we are going to deploy infrastructure using Terraform. So to do this, we need some of the Terraform commands. These are some commands that we are going to learn today. Okay, so in this video, we will go one by one. So I have just documented here. I am I have not written any code here. I will do it in my VS Code. So these are the things we are going to learn today. So what are the importance of these commands? How we use it? What are the benefits? We are going to learn that in this video. Okay. Yeah. So let's get started. Okay. So the first infrastructure that we are going to create today is VPC Amazon. So first, if you want to understand how things work in Terraform, I would recommend you to create the same resource using your console by manually. Okay, when you create your VPC, what are the things that you require? Everything you will understand, right? Let's go with VPC. As of now, so here if you are see, it is asking for the name which is optional, and it is asking for IPv4 sided block, it is asking for IPv6, whatever you need to provide it here, and you are also providing tenancy with whether it is default or dedicated, right? So these things will provide you when you will create your VPC in your console. If you want to do the same something using Terraform, it is really simple. Okay, so for that you can take the reference from the AWS VPC Terraform registry documentation. Okay, so if they have given the basic uses with the text, right? So you can copy this from and you make of that. If you want to add additional parameters, for example, if you see, we are only providing CIDR block, we have specifying also, right? Here we are specifying IPv4, but if you see, if want to specify IPv4 but want to, I don't have that option, but here in console I have it. But if you see, there are some option number IPv6, IPM, Amazon provided, and IPv6. Like usually we go to the Amazon provided IPv6 CIDR block, right? So if you want to that visibility, we can do is you can come down. If you have something called reference, argument reference, are nothing but you are the thing that you pass on while creating the resource, the importance parameters that you pass while creating infrastructure, we call as argument, right? So for example, the name one of the argument IPv6 CIDR block, CIDR block 6, network border group is one of the argument, right? Tenancy one of the argument. While in the same way coding, we call that argument, not as parameter. Okay, here. So you have many different options. Like if you want to see here IPv6 CIDR block IP, if you are going with Amazon provided IPv6 header block, you can select that also right there. There are many things like tags. You have assigned generated IPv6 CIDR block is one will be the allocated by Amazon itself. But I mean is, so we selected Amazon provided IPv6 block. So in the same way, if you want to go with, in your Terraform, you want to select this one. If you see here, you assign generated IPv6 CIDR block. Uh, but it is optional. If you want to, you can select either a way, it is fine, right? So again, one more important thing here, you need to be very careful. So there are some arguments which are optionals, and there are some arguments which are required. So required in the sense, if you do not provide those arguments, you will not be able to create the resource. For example, in if you are creating a VPC, uh, yeah, if you are creating a VPC, IPv4, C CIDR block is must should provide, right? So you, if you do not provide IPv6 CIDR block, how will you create a VPC, right? So that's why it is important. CIDR block is important for you to give it, but here is in the documentation you have no the specified, it has optional, but you should be changed. I don't know why it is reflecting like that in this documentation. So here there are many needs to be corrected. I think Terraform is working on it, and they will make those changes shortly. Okay, so these are the things that are required VPC while creating. And after creating the VPC, what will happen is in the background you will something, right? So for example, let's say you go with the default VPC. You will you will have some details, right? VPC ID, and it will be given to after creating the VPC itself in the same way. So go ahead and create the infrastructure itself. Okay, so this one you want to do is to create a separate folder for all the resources that we create. For example, I am teaching how to create VPC today, and I will extending you still more. I will be teaching how to create subnets. So subnet gateway, how to associate you know subnets with your root tables, all those things to do, that is the coming lecture. So create a separate folder for this. I have named as assignment that. Okay, I'll make sure that you know upload to this my GitHub. So yeah, there is, so I have created two files, that is provider.tf and the other one is vpc.tf, where I will be creating VPC resources here. And you know already what is provider, because you have already watched the second video that I have already dropped. So if you do not know provider, means you are saying that Terraform need to interact with AWS. So if you want this reference documents, write how to create a VPC you using Terraform. This is the reference document itself. But if you want that you be also available, I'll make sure to add that. Okay, so don't worry about this text file. This contain all the things are required. Okay, now let's come here. Let us concentrate on this block. Okay, so if you see here vpc.tf, the first line is very important. So here are, so here are telling Terraform that are creating the resource. This is why we have specified resource here, right? Previously we specified provider in the provider.tf. That means we are trying to save Terraform that we are going to use AWS. Please download AWS plugin for me, that what we have done in VPC. So we are saying Terraform that I'm going to create Amazon AWS VPC resource. What we specified here, resource indicated, we are trying to create a resource, and what resource are creating AWS underscore VPC. You cannot name anything you want here. It is always defined by Terraform itself. So AWS underscore VPC is defined by data form you cannot change, that is the name of the resource. Okay, so it is a resource type that you are trying to create. Resource type, we have many different types. We have AWS, EC2, we have IAM, those things we will specify the middle. Okay, so the next thing you are seeing here, this is the logical name, just the logical name. So you so you those name will be taken to VPCs, not like that. Whatever the name you provide here inside the Terraform, Terraform scripts. Let's say in the case if I want to create subnet in future, while creating subnet I need to take the reference from VPC, right? I need to provide the VPC ID. Where will I get my VPC ID? I need to reference this name, right? So this is why we added we need to this logical name, the reference name you can consider. Okay, so don't think that this name will be carried to your resource. No, this is just a logical name. Okay, this is applicable uh, Terraform. Okay, the next is CIDR block. We are passing the parameters, the argument we saw in the documentation. So CIDR block that want to use, so I'll just say inside a double quote, I'll just say 10.0.0/16. Okay, so this is the my CIDR block and instantancy. If you don't understand anything, write to your console, see the details. Let's see the tendency, that is tendency. So just go ahead and by default will always go with default itself. I'll specify default enable DNS host name, so these are required to have DNS host. So we will try that as we will type that as true, right? If you want to see that values, it will write. So you can go back to your documentation. So enable DNS, right? So you can search that there. Okay, so the next one is assign generated CIDR block, which is also true. So now we will change that to let us ask Terraform to add a IPv6 CIDR block and the tags. So you can give tags to your VPC. Yeah, so you can tag your VPC. So here if you're while creating the resource we are adding tag, right? Instead of doing it in the console, we are doing it in the Terraform. We need to specify what is the name tag that you want to give. You I'll just say Terraform VPC. Okay, I'll just mention it. Okay, so this is all you have given to create Terraform resources. So let's save it and run this script. So after this you need to do is to initialize the Terraform. How will you do it? You will just type Terraform in it. Yeah, Terraform in it and hit enter. So basically this is going to download all your plugins that are required to interact with AWS, right? So it will download AWS plugin for this particular folder. Here if you can see we are having 3 files as of now, but if you see there is one more file that edit.terraform, so it will contain your provider. So whatever provider information that you specify here, it will be downloaded. Okay, Now if you see Terraform has successfully initialized, let's confirm it download all the plugins that required. Okay, so the next one is Terraform plan. So I'll tell you what it is going to do. It basically will do will show you here itself in the terminal. So what are the resources will be created when you execute, when you actually create a resources, the things that will be deployed on AWS console, right? So you will get the blueprint of those running Terraform plan. Terraform plan will not create the resource actually, so it will just give you the blueprint. If you see here, you are getting the blueprint of whatever the things that will be created. So everything is in plus green, so that means it is going to create. If it is in red and minus symbol, so there, that means it is going to delete it. Okay, so if there is one more thing there, so basically if there is any changes that has been done, so that it will be appearing here. Okay, now if you see, these are the things that we are creating. So ARN saying not saying non apply after AWS clearly. So once the resource is created, you will get the ARN, right? So that is why it is saying now after apply and assign generated IPv6 true. Yeah, that are getting, there are lot many known after apply. That means it will be known only after you are applying what is the name that you are giving Terraform VPC, right? So the next command is Terraform apply. So it is telling clearly it will be created, these resources will be created. If you apply it right to the next, what you can do is you can directly apply into your AWS. Okay, so to apply it, there is a command called Terraform apply. Okay, you just one more time give you the plan whatever we saw in the previous command, so it will display once again and it will ask you for the confirmation. Yeah, this resource or not seeing, it's showing the same thing when we run in the Terraform plan. And here it is asking to perform the following action. So here and it create a resource. Okay, now just say yes. Basically now this Terraform will go ahead and create my VPC. So if you see here, it is starting created VPC AWS underscore VPC is creating. So this will take some time to create the resource in your AWS. See, if you see here, apply complete resource 1 is added, 0 changes and 0 destroyed. Now let us go back to your AWS console. Let me go to VPC. Previously we are having some VPC, default VPC, this is one. Now we got this one, right? We created this resource. Let's see if we have that or not. IPv6 we have, right? We specified that CIDR block that I used in the code also, right? So this is the code that we used and this is the VPC ID. The things got created, right? So this is how to create your infrastructure using Terraform, right? So this is it to create VPC. Thank you.